So I did. I titled this My Mentoring Journey from the Sunburned Sporting Fields of Australia to today running Fogarty Innovation, an organization that's focused on mentoring. Three parts to this. I want to talk about growing up and really yearning for a mentor, as I believe we all do. The early mid-career, where mentors abound and come in all shapes and sizes. And then end with what it's like to actually become a mentor. And it's not as easy as it sounds. So my first take-home message is that all of you, all of us, I should say, own our own careers. No one else does. Right? You own your career. Certainly, a mentor doesn't own it. And so just take-home message number one. The first mentoring experience that I can remember was when I was playing Australian rules football. And thanks, Margaret. I'd love you all. You've got to look it up. It's not rugby. It's not soccer. It's its own thing. Look it up on YouTube. I remember this still to this day, and this was almost 40 years ago. So Tuesday following a weekend game, my coach came up to me, gave me this sheet of notes. It was at most 2 pages, but it outlined what I had done right in the previous game, what I'd done wrong, and what he wanted me to do for the next game. It was a small act, right? You know, he'd gone and spent some time, obviously doing that for about 20 players, but it had a profound impact on me. Someone actually cared enough to take the time to help me get better. And I think we're all looking for our Yoda or our Mr. Miyagi. And that then was one of the many things about sport that sort of really drew me into coaching and mentoring. The next mentoring experience I had was at my first job after graduating from college. I was a young science officer at the TGA in Australia. And that's where I learned that you can learn a lot from folks that aren't that good, from folks that aren't doing things the right way. So I really simply learned how not to do things, how not to manage people, how not to treat people. And I sort of call that unintended mentoring or poor negative role modeling. The next step was for me in my second job. As Margaret said, I moved from Australia to the States. I had a bit of an epiphany. You know, I moved on my own, so I'm out here on my own, no friends, and no credit cards. It was a different story, a much longer story. But sitting alone in an apartment, foreign country, realizing I'd left my family, my friends. This epiphany was that I hadn't worked hard enough at school, at college. You know, I got by, but barely. I didn't work hard enough at sport. You know, like I said, I was thinking that I was on my way to become a professional athlete, but probably a little bit too lazy. So given this, looking back, being alone, saying, well, I've done this, I'm going to make sure I'm going to give my career my best effort. And quite frankly, from that time on, I did put a lot of work, a lot of effort, worked as hard as I possibly could, and then learned over time to work smarter. And so far, it seemed to have worked out. But crucial to that, I'd say to my good fortune, was a couple of things. Strong intellectual curiosity and drive. You know, really focus on how could I do better? And really focus on how I could do better. And then a second realization that mentors were all around me. My supervisors, my workmates, others at the company, not in my chain of command. Friends of friends. Books have been a big mentorship role in my life, learning from the words of others. As Garrett can attest, I sought people out. I set up breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and my specialty, drinks. I explored their journeys, learning and shaping my own. And one thing I do want to point out here is, there's a couple of things I said in there. I explored their journeys, right? From their experiences, from contributing to have conversations, I was able to shape mine. But it's an important nuance. You've got to contribute at least as much as you take. For somebody who gets asked a lot now to have mentoring type discussions, it's got to be a two-way street. Right? And the one thing I would really like to communicate is make friends, not networks. If that makes sense to you guys. So the second take-home message is, if you look, you'll find mentors all around you. Be genuinely curious and be proactive. So one piece of wisdom that I learned around this time, or maybe wisdom's too dicky a word there, sorry, but one thing that I learned around that time, and I've continued today, is what I call it my 80-20 rule. And what I mean by that is, you get employed to do a job. You've got to do that job the best you can. Do more than what's asked of you, but do that more in 80% of the time. Now, all of us have, fine, it's only 24 hours in a day. But I can tell you, in the early days, I was working many hours, get in early, leave late. And a lot of that was just getting my job done in 80% of the time, which left me 20% of the time to be able to do work for others. It gave me an opportunity to go and help out the folks in quality, to go and help the folks in marketing, giving me an opportunity to learn another role, but at the same time, helping these folks get their jobs done. And what I learned with that over time was I got a far better understanding of how the business ran, how all of the elements of the company came together. And also, by doing a lot of favors for people, you get opportunity when things arise. And I got the opportunity time over time to continue to expand my horizons. Okay, just remembering that Stacey is pushing me with respect to time here. The final leg of my journey was actually becoming a mentor. So today, my job here at Fogarty coincides with my desire to give back. And along with the entire Fogarty team, we want to pass on what others have taught us. And now, I would say my role is a full-time mentor. One thing I want to communicate to a lot of you folks is, and I've learned this over the last few years, I've gone from what I would call an operator to now a mentor, right? It is tough. This is the hardest job I've ever had. And in the beginning, I always fretted that my counsel, my advice might be wrong. Right? Who was I to be mentoring anybody? And seriously, it is a very genuine feeling that I can tell you. I know Margaret, I know a ton of folks here have this same thing, which is, who are we to be mentoring folks? So now I think I've become a lot more comfortable realizing that mentoring is just a series of genuine conversations, sharing experiences and insights, and then leveraging my relationships that I've built up over the years to help others. But it is a series of conversations, not a one-way street, a discussion that goes both ways, where we get to share experiences of being just that little bit older. I would suggest look beyond your network, ask your supervisors, your friends and family to introduce you to others. Go at least 1 degree away. And so reach out. This is two things that are happening here. One is you're expanding your own network, but you're also finding people that don't have a direct role in your life, which enables them to be a little bit more honest sometimes, a little bit more truthful. And then do me the favor of looking at the world through the eyes of your potential mentor. It isn't easy, as I said. It should be win-win, where you both gain from the relationship. And understand that folks that have got a few more years on don't necessarily mean that they're as secure as you may think. Right? We're all growing. We're all living through this world for the first time. So my last take-home message: mentoring is a relationship. It's not a job. The best relationships are nurtured, so feed them. That's it.